Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hi, this is William Shatner, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen to Brian Shapiro. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Come on, guys!
What's up, everybody? It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. Oh, yeah, we got a lot to get to today. So we got a little bad weather out there. I'm a little under the weather myself. But, you know, I'm really tough. I'm 6 feet tall, 140 pounds soaking wet. I'm a tough dude. So I made it into the station today because I'm a fighter, and I care about you listeners. I care about all of you very much. I love all of you, and I'm sacrificing my health and my life to come in the studio and bitch and complain to all of you. So that's why I'm here. I appreciate all of you out there, and that's why I am here. As well as, you know, how could I not show up if Chris Wynn's in the house, right? We got Chris Wynn in studio.
Yes.
He's here. What our top contributor? No, I shouldn't say our top. One of our very well-known contributors. I don't want to offend Ron Futrell and Jameson Welsh. By the way, Jameson from Drive Time Sports will be joining us in hour number 2. The latest on the UNLV basketball coaching search. Oh, and by the way, I have some more inside information. I haven't been wrong yet. Got some more inside information to share with you in regards to the coaching search. And the good news as well, I told my co-host J.D. Sharp I wasn't feeling too good today, so can you please show up on time today? I need you here. And he has made it. He is here on time. He sacrificed driving 15 minutes through the rain. So I appreciate that, JD. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It actually took me 40 minutes today.
That's brutal.
Which was surprising.
People don't know how to drive in the rain.
They have
That's the
absolutely
problem.
no idea how to drive in the rain here.
People know how to drive in the rain like Marvin Menzies is the National Coach of the Year. Oh, that was a cheap shot. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll get to UNLV basketball coming up in hour number 2. We got to get to the stories of the day. Been talking a lot on this show about Donald Trump and John McCain, right? Who would have thought? What if you told John McCain a year ago that 6 or 7 months after he passes away, he's going to be in the news every day? He probably would have laughed at it, right? He probably wouldn't have believed it. Maybe he would have. I don't know. But we talked yesterday about, you know, Donald Trump going after John McCain's grades. And, you know, of course, you know, before he became president, he attacked John McCain on his service as a POW, saying he doesn't respect him because he was captured. I want to get to the news of the day, and I want to get to some more idiotic statements that Donald Trump made. But I found some audio. It dates back to 1999. Dan Rather interviewing Donald Trump. And I want to play this quick soundbite. So, Johnny, go ahead and play it.
The way Trump looks at it, he's at least better than everyone else in the race, beginning with John McCain.
A little bit. I mean, he was captured.
And he flew combat missions with distinction.
Does being captured make you a hero? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, can you believe that? That was in 1999 he was talking about John McCain. Unbelievable. So obviously, you know, he's been shown the utmost disrespect towards John McCain since the late 90s. I want to tell you what Donald Trump said today. I'm not making this stuff up. Donald Trump today, in regards to the funeral of Senator John McCain, he said, I endorsed him at his request. I gave him the kind of funeral that he wanted, which as president, I had to approve. I don't care about this. I didn't get a thank you, but that's okay. We sent him on his way. But I wasn't a fan of John McCain. He said this in a speech today at a tank factory in Ohio. I sent him on his way. And he's saying that he wanted a thank you for the funeral of John McCain. Is this guy obsessed with John McCain?
He didn't say that I wanted a thank. He said that I did not get a thank you. He didn't say I wanted it. So that's just a clarification, because I know people are going to call up and say, "Oh, Brian, you said that that he asked for one, that he wanted it," and that's not the case. But that's okay.
But what do you guys make of these comments? Once again, the president going after John McCain. I mean, am I out of my mind here? Is this so beneath the presidency? It's just unbelievable.
Well, here's the thing, Brian and JD. I share the sentiment of one of the callers into the show yesterday, who was kind of amazed that you guys were able to talk about this for an hour with respect to the comments that the president has made about John McCain. One more time, it comes to my mind beyond the pale. Okay, they are comments that are unnecessary. They are unprecedented. They are unpresidential. And quite frankly, the man has passed away. And I was listening to the show yesterday. Of course, I was not a contributor yesterday. I had a chance to kind of get an overview and tune in. And a lot of the sentiment from the callers was a lot of just hammering the late John McCain, right? And you would have thought that John McCain was a serial rapist. You would have thought that John McCain was Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer. The way and the description and the rationale that the callers were making with respect to the late senator, that it was unbelievable. And it was all in defense of the president. It was all saying, well, there's a reason behind it. That's why the president, that's why Donald Trump is saying this stuff about it, because he did this and he did that and he said this about the president. He was never on the president's side. He never wanted Donald Trump to be the commander-in-chief, to be president. And to me, it was like you have to be kidding me. Like the whole point of, and the whole reason there's a conflict with respect to Donald Trump and John McCain, and why people can't believe that he's saying these things he's saying about John McCain, is because it's not Donald Trump's place to do it. Okay?
JD, tell me you're not going to defend the president on this one, please.
I'm definitely a Trump guy. Just letting people know, but I don't understand what the end game here is. I don't know where he's going with this, and I don't see how this is productive.
It's not.
I don't get what this is accomplishing. Donald Trump he's played a pretty good game of chess so far politically, but I don't see what the next move or what this move is, why he is doing what he's doing. Usually he does things for a reason. I don't know what this reason is.
Can I respond to that and say I think the answer is that the man has no respect for people, and he's just a jerk. He has no class and he has no respect. We can talk for hours and hours about how the economy is good, how unemployment numbers are great. We can talk about policy all day, and I have no problem doing that with some of our callers. Mm-hmm. But it is beyond beneath the presidency to say the things that he has said about John McCain. And I'll open up the phone lines to that. I hope I made some sense there. Let me just give out the phone number. 257-5396 is the number to call. We have a few open phone lines if you'd like to join the discussion. Again, that number, 257-5396.
And one more quick point, too, Brian and JD. There was this comment made by many callers, and I believe by Ron Futrell as well yesterday, that this is a pissing contest, right? That this is back and forth.
That's what Ron said.
There is no back and forth. John McCain has been passed away for weeks, okay? The president is still alive.
Months.
There's no back and forth. This isn't a pissing contest, okay? This is the president being vindictive. This is the president being petty. And this is the president needs to move on, okay? This is absolutely, like I've said before, beyond the pale. It makes no sense.
I agree. All right, phone lines are going through the roof here, and we do have some extra phone lines on the show, so hopefully you won't get a busy signal this time around. We appreciate all your calls at 257-5396. You won't find a more interactive show than ours. We love our listeners, and we love our callers, and we'd love you to call in at 257-5396. Let's start off with Gary. Gary, thank you for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Hey, thank you. Can you hear me on my cheap, it's not an Obama phone, but it's a cheap phone.
I can hear you loud and clear, Gary.
What's on
your mind?
I really don't want to get into this John McCain thing, although as a veteran, I think he let me down. I mean, I had to be 100% disabled just to have a cavity removed as a veteran, and I don't think he was aggressive enough with the border. Because all those people took a lot of
all right, hold on, Gary.
Jobs.
Gary, that's fair. That's fair. We can talk about policy. Gary, I don't have a problem with you. And to be honest with you, I had some issues with some of the policies and the politics of John McCain. I didn't always agree with him, but that's not what we're talking about here. And that's not what Donald Trump will bring up. Some of the policy issues and some of the reason why he doesn't like John McCain. But he'll also go after him about, like, for example, today, talking about the funeral, saying that he should be thanked. This guy is a masterful narcissist, and he shows no respect for people, and that has to bother you.
I understand. But before you cut me off, listen to me.
I'm not cutting you off, Gary.
I do agree with you more than you think I do. And President Trump is not a politician. He's a rock star who's not on drugs and alcohol. He's like Jim Ross under the Doors. Without Jim Morrison, there's no Doors.
Right,
and the man's crazy in a lot of ways. I don't understand it either.
All right. Well, I will say this, Gary. Not many rock stars that I know go after, people that have served this country. In fact, many rock stars go over to Iraq and Afghanistan and actually perform.
Especially if they're dead.
Yes, exactly, JD. Me and JD agreeing on everything so far. It's a record today.
And Gary points out that he's a veteran.
Yeah.
And so I pose the question to you. So is John McCain to blame with respect to all things, with health care and veterans in this country and the issues that we have? John McCain is the reason why we're having problems in that area?
No, it's a ridiculous argument. 257-5396. Again, 257-5396. Let's go to Frank. Frank, thanks for calling in. How are you?
I've been better, but I'm hoping this cloud cover lifts because we're supposed to get a super moon.
You're telling me, man. You're telling me I'm under the weather. I got either the worst allergies or the worst cold, so I'm hoping that the show after ours, Ken Thompson, I'm hoping that I give him my disease and he gets sick as well. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Frank.
No, that's all right. Whenever you bring that up, people ask, somehow my father comes into the conversation. I said, look, the only thing he gave me was every one of his allergies, and my mom and by the way, my mom breastfed me 8 months, and I still got all his allergies.
Oh boy. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Frank. I can't help you there, but maybe you can help me.
That is very unfortunate and very rare.
Maybe you can.
I got to tell you, back when I moved, it was almost like being on the island of Okinawa, having all those allergies. When I got here from '92. It started about 96 when a ton of people were fleeing California like I
hear you,
did.
Frank. Listen, I would love to do 2 hours on allergies, but I think we would lose all our listeners. So, Frank, what you got for me with this John McCain, Donald Trump situation?
Well, I don't know if you've ever seen, and it's a fantastic if you got kids. And
I don't. Not that I know of. No kids as far as I know.
Okay, but it's just a fantastic show called American Greed.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got American Greed, The Fugitive, and McCain covered a whole hour of that. And yesterday, I think one of you made a comment about Trump being, or other people have, about being a silver spoon.
Well, he is.
You don't come any more silver spoon than he had 2 coattails of rear admirals. He got
no. I would say Donald Trump's more silver spoon than John McCain.
Well,
I would absolutely say that.
You go into the military and you've got that legacy of 2 rear admirals, top of the Navy.
Can I stop?
I was in the military. It's not exactly a glorious, easy life compared to Donald Trump. You're saying Donald Trump hasn't had an easier life than John McCain?
He was in military private school up until he went off to Wharton. I mean, I'm not going to say his was a fun life, and he was constantly trying to have to live up to his dad's standards, and I know all about that, having a colonel for a father. Believe me, so I showed him, and I joined the army.
Frank, I'm sorry to cut you here, but let me just say this: last I heard, Donald Trump had bone spurs, allegedly, and we all know that was most likely not true. John McCain served this country, and Donald Trump is a coward. And I got to get to some other callers. Frank, I hope your allergies get better. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry your father gave you all those diseases. You guys have any diseases from your pops? No?
Not that I know of.
No?
I don't have anything. Anything down that road. I haven't experienced it. Let's put it that way.
I've got a pretty firm, solid immune system.
Yeah.
It's strong.
Luckily,
strong like bull.
Unfortunately, I don't. Let's take some more calls. We got only one phone line open at 257-5396. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Brian, JD.
What's up?
I just sort of more of an observation. Your outrage here, Brian, feels a little bit manufactured. The whole thing about John McCain is when he does something to stick it to the right and be all mavericky, then the left loves him. And
I don't love him.
He's not. He doesn't do anything anymore. He's passed away. He passed away months ago.
But I'm saying it's just like if he was here, though. I mean,
he's not here though. He passed away.
You love this controversy because it gives you an opportunity to just bash Trump more.
No, you know what? You're wrong, Jeff.
Trump gives us the opportunity because Trump does things that are ridiculous.
Let me be very clear.
What I'm saying is, if this was somebody besides Trump saying some of these things, you wouldn't be devoting days and days.
Jeff, let me be very clear. Let me be very clear and address that. First of all, Donald Trump is our president. If Barack, and you obviously know nothing about my politics. You're making a gross assumption. If Barack Obama was our president and he said he didn't respect any war veteran because they were captured, I would go after him. Every single day I would go after him. I would never forget that comment. Jeff, with all due respect, you are 150% wrong, and I got to get to the next caller. That is an idiotic statement to make. Absolutely and positively idiotic. Jeremy, I believe Jeremy is next. Thank you for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
I think we're taking it out of context there. he doesn't like the guy, obviously, but people are linking it to the military service and stuff.
Well, that's what he did.
He don't like the guy, and I think Jeff was right on the last one. You know.
Okay.
Donald Trump linked it to the military service when he said that he didn't respect him because he was captured.
I think of course he respects the military. You know, he does a lot for the military.
Yeah, but he doesn't respect John McCain.
Doesn't like the guy as a person. You guys are trying to link this like, oh, he's dissing on the guy because of his military service. No,
I'm going by his quote. With all due respect, did you?
And then hold on, and then there's another thing. It's like,
well, hold on with that.
No. You can't just say that and not get a response.
Don't just say another thing. Let's focus. I will give you a chance to make your statement on the other thing, but let's address this first, okay? I am going by the exact quote that Donald Trump said. If he didn't like the guy, he could have said that. He didn't have to go after his military service, and he didn't have to say he didn't respect him because he was captured. I'm not making that stuff
you're
up.
Right about that. The guy.
Of course, I'm right about that.
You're a hero.
Well, then what are you talking about? Then that's what you said.
But I'm just saying that there's a double standard.
What are you talking about? Double standard.
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. People can go after Trump, and then when Trump says something to defend himself, it's like, oh man, you know, it's crazy.
How do you defend that? Please explain to me how you defend going after someone's military service and saying you don't respect them because they were captured. I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
Taken out of content. Of course, he loves the military.
That has nothing to do with it. You can love. Listen, you could love everyone in the world, but if you murder one person, that doesn't mean you're a great person.
I get what you're saying. That was a shitty statement.
Okay, well, you got. Okay, we got to let you go. You can't say that on the air, my man. I got to get to another call. You can't swear on the air.
Great call, Jeremy.
Yeah, fantastic call. Thank you so much. I believe we have John next. John, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you? John, are you there? I believe we have lost John. Why don't we go to Rick? John, why don't we go to Ricky? Rick, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. Rick, how are you? Rick, have we lost you, my friend? We are losing all the callers, unfortunately. Yes. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, the number to call, 257-5396. Again, that number to call, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Kelly. Kelly, thanks for calling in. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm a little bit under the weather, but I'll survive.
Well, aren't we all technically under the weather?
That is true. That is very true, Kelly.
Well, two things. One, I can't stand it when people say 150% because there's no such number that's over 100%.
You get the point, though, right? You do get the point, though, Kelly. You do understand what
I do get
the point he's trying to make. Yeah. Okay. It's It's pretty simple.
Weird.
All right. Well,
anyway.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
Other thing, I mean, I know you respect people that serve.
Absolutely, as I do you and Chris Wynn and anyone that has served in our military honorably. I have the utmost respect, and it's a lot of bravery, and I respect anyone who's done that, regardless of politics.
Yeah, but see, the thing is you. Let me just say this before you explode.
Uh-oh.
You hold these people to such a high standard, and it's like you say, okay, well, they served honorably. Well, everything that happened after they served, it doesn't matter because they served honorably.
Okay, well, hold on a second. You think I'm holding Donald Trump to too high of a standard when he goes after John McCain?
No, she's talking about John McCain. I understand, Kelly. I understand kind of the direction you're going. What this is about, this entire topic, it's about the conflict between Donald Trump, a man who never served, who was never even sniffed being in basic training or advanced training or anything.
He's serving his country right now.
Well, as a military, with respect to the military, okay, has he ever been in theater? Has he ever been at war? Has he ever served in the military?
There's a lot of people that served in the military honorably for 20 years that never served during a conflict. And that doesn't diminish their sacrifice. And
so are you trying to make the case that you're trying to make the case that Donald Trump has as much of a commitment to this country from a military aspect that John McCain did? Is that what you're trying to say? Are you trying to make that case?
I'm trying to say that there are ways to serve your country. That doesn't mean you have to be in war.
Oh, absolutely.
In the military.
I don't think
that goes without saying, though.
I don't think anybody's going to debate that, Kelly. I mean,
no one's going to debate that.
All I'm trying to say is that our president has zero class, and he continues to go after John McCain, Kelly. And I got to get to some other callers. Good to hear from you, Kelly. But the bottom line is, all I want to hear from a Republican or somebody who's a Donald Trump supporter is what JD said. You know, what are you doing? Basically, I'm paraphrasing, JD, what you said. But basically, what are you doing? Why are you making these comments about John McCain? Stop it. It's disrespectful. Just end it already. Stop it. Right? 257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Frank. Frank, thanks for calling in. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
What's up, Frank?
I just want to say I'm a 20-year veteran.
Thank you for your service, my friend.
And it appalls me to I'm trying to understand these people that support this president the way they do, that they would put down somebody like a John McCain.
Right.
You got to, I wonder about these people. They have to be just racist at the core. They have to be illiterate at the core. They have to be very ignorant people.
You know what I think it is, Frank? Yeah. You know what I think it is, Frank? And by the way, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think we're generalizing here, but I think some of these people, they might not be racist. They might not be illiterate. They're just completely biased.
Not generalize. These people cannot tell me that they can appreciate
I agree.
a parasite like Donald Trump.
Frank, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I'm saying that there are people in the world, and I'm sure you'll agree, Frank, and you guys in studio, that are so biased and so clouded in their views. Frank,
Frightful is the friggin' word, man. I cannot understand these people. They are illiterate.
Frank, are you Jamaican?
Tell me that they can appreciate somebody like a Donald Trump. I cannot understand over John McCain. Give me a break.
I agree, Frank, and I agree, Frank. I don't want you to have a heart attack. So take boy, that guy's more fired up than I am, JD. That's tough to do.
That was the most fired up anti-Trump caller we've ever had on this show.
Frank, I like you, buddy. I do, Frank, but I don't want you to have a heart attack.
Frank, keep calling in.
It's like when Nancy Pelosi said he's not worth it to be impeached. Frank, it's not worth it getting into a car accident or having a heart attack. I care about you, Frank. And by the way, I do agree with you in some aspects. 257-5396. Let's go to Jim. Jim, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Jim?
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
First-time caller. You know, I think the issue is Donald Trump is jealous. In his mind, he sees someone who is captured by the enemy to probably be a loser, which John McCain is not.
Right.
And the fact that John McCain was captured, is deceased, and seen as an American hero, something that Donald Trump is not. He cannot deal with that.
Yeah.
And that's why he strikes out at McCain.
Jim, Jim, I think you make a really...
He should be the hero, and John McCain not.
Jim, I
so
think
Donald Trump's got an issue and needs to grow up, and that's what my comments are.
Jim, I appreciate that, Jim, and I also want to add on to that. And by the way, I think you're right. When Cindy McCain, John McCain's daughter, right? Is that her name, Cindy? She was on
Meghan McCain's
I'm sorry,
daughter.
I apologize.
Cindy's is
Meghan.
His widow.
Meghan McCain said, "Nobody will ever love you like they loved my father." And I thought that was a very classy and good way to handle the situation. And Jim, I'm sure you agree. I think she's right.
100% she's right. And I'm a Republican.
Yeah. Well, Jim,
I'm ashamed to myself that our president acts that way. I think he has great other policies, but the way he treats people is disgusting and is turning myself away from the Republican Party, because that's not what we are. And he's childish, he's immature, and he is just jealous that he is not getting that love like she had mentioned, or the recognition of being an American hero.
He does love him some adoration. That's the truth.
Jim, it's really good to hear from you. I'm glad to hear from my fellow, I shouldn't say fellow, but Republicans that have the same, opinion that I have, that it's beneath the presidency. Jim, good to hear from you. I appreciate the call. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, Jim.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the next caller and try to squeeze in a few more here at 257-5396. I believe we are going to James. James, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. How y'all doing today?
Good, James. What's on your mind, man?
Man, the last caller, Jim, man, he took the words right out of my mouth. I was pretty much going to go the same route he was. I think Donald Trump is just, he's just jealous. He'll never be looked at as a patriotic war hero that, McCain did. And I'm sure that upsets him in a lot of ways, because he's supposed to be the leader of this country, and he will never be looked at as, a patriotic hero.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. You know what? Some people look at him as a womanizer, a cheat. What was it? What were the words that Michael Cohen said? I think that's the way a lot of people that are not biased look at Donald Trump. And I know a lot of people call it the hate Trump, the hate Trump campaign and all that other nonsense. I just don't think Donald Trump is a very honorable human being. I think he's a liar. I think he's a cheat. And a lot of the words, look, Michael Cohen is not exactly the most honorable person either, but I actually agree with him when he used those comments as far as John McCain, as far as Donald Trump goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, James, good to hear from. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you guys have a good evening, man.
Thank you, James.
I'm going to keep on listening and keep calling in.
Appreciate it, James.
Thanks a lot, James.
Thank you for calling in. I appreciate that. Let's.
So you think that he's kind of looking at his legacy right now and thinking, what am I really leaving? What do people actually view me as? Like you said, a womanizer, a fraud, a cheat, whatever it is. Maybe he's looking at it and saying, well, what could I do to change that? And
this isn't going to help, JD.
I agree. It's not going to help, but that's definitely an interesting perspective that I have not thought about.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting call. I agree with you. We got about one more minute here. Let's take one more call. Let's go to Bill. Bill, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Yeah, gentlemen, I'm a conservative, voted for Trump, but it's like this in a short synopsis. I'm Catholic, but I don't believe in everything a Catholic church does and says. Now, I don't believe what Donald Trump did is right, putting down John McCain. If people can't see that, then they're biased, because you can't just go head over heels over somebody when they do something wrong. It's not practical whatsoever.
I couldn't agree with you more, Bill, and I think that, of course, and by the way, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Got to take a quick break, but unfortunately, there are a small minority of people out there that are not going to agree with you, and they're going to think that Trump can say and do whatever he does, and they're just fine with it. And I think those people are complete idiots. I'm just going to be – it is so good to hear from conservatives and Republicans calling into a conservative station and just telling it like it is. Our callers are smart, and I think that many of them have been just being honest, and I appreciate that. We got to take a quick break. Cameron and Brian coming up next, 257-5396, the number to call. We'll be back right after this on the Vegas Take. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, Chris Wynn in studio. Glad you could join us. A little under the weather, but I'm fighting it right now. We're talking, obviously, the Donald Trump comments in regards to John McCain. We're also going to get to this Boeing crash. This is a ridiculous situation where the plane that went down apparently had issues the day before, and it might not have been reported. Oh, my goodness. Boeing might be done. That entire company might be done. We'll get to that story. And, of course, UNLV Hoops, the latest on the coaching situation. We'll get to that in hour number 2. Jamison Welsh from Drive Time Sports joining us in studio. Let's go back to the phones at 257-5396. Cameron, you've been waiting patiently on hold. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
What's on your mind?
I kind of understand what Trump has gone through. I think what it is that in the very beginning, John McCain attacked him, and Trump is the type of person who not really just kind of dismiss it, but he will actually go for the jugular, or he'll go right on the attack. And his comments were just to reciprocate the attack that was made against.
Okay, so what did John McCain? What specific comments are you referring to? What did John McCain say? Like, did he go after Donald Trump's wife or kids? What did he say that was so horrible and personal that you're okay with Donald Trump going back at him and being okay with him talking about his service and being captured in war?
I think it was from the very beginning when John McCain campaigned against him.
What do you mean? John McCain John McCain never campaigned against it. John McCain never campaigned against it. He wasn't running for president. What do you mean?
Well, it might have been.
Okay. Let's forget about. Okay, no problem. Let's forget about exactly when it happened. Can you tell me something specifically in John McCain's life that he's ever said about Donald Trump that could be anywhere near close to as disrespectful as what Donald Trump said today, as what Donald Trump said last week, and what he said before the campaign? Give me one example.
He has in the past. I know he has.
Okay, well, what has he said? Tell me. Okay, Cameron, have a good day. Appreciate you calling in.
We got a window into Donald Trump's view of this and his thinking with respect to John McCain today during the speech, because it just wasn't about the funeral stuff, right, Brian and JD? It wasn't just about that. He also talked, if you heard the whole speech, he went in length about John McCain and, of course, his thumbs down vote with the budget, and of course his opposition to Donald Trump with policy things.
Right.
So we understand the direction that Donald Trump comes at when he thinks about John McCain.
Well,
so,
listen, when I pass away,
all due respect to that last caller who's just trying to, he's basically saying, "Oh yeah, there's been things that he said and John McCain has said in the past about that got Donald Trump fired up, and that's why he does it." No, he in the speech today. Here in 2019, he gave us an indication of what he thinks.
Listen, nobody in my family will thank you, but when I pass away at my funeral, I want you guys to put a couple slot machines in there. I put a couple TVs with a couple games that you guys are wagering on, because that's what I would want.
And we'll send you on your way.
Yeah,
Brian
send
Shapiro.
me on my way. What a ridiculous thing to say. 257-5396. We have one phone line open. Let's go to Brian. Brian, thanks for calling in. How are you?
I'm doing good. Is you're under the weather or self-inflicted or?
You know what I think it was? That's a very good question. Well, I'll give you a couple options. It was either going on a date or playing poker and dealing with the dirty chips, or going to a movie theater sitting next to someone that was sneezing.
Yeah, Brian. Hey, Brian. B-Shap. He's like Donald Trump. He doesn't partake in a lot of extracurricular stuff, whether it's alcohol or any type of funny stuff. So it wasn't anything like that.
Yeah, I didn't go to any massage parlors. I didn't pull a craft or anything like that. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
JD, my man. Hello to you, Chris.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
What's up?
Tonight. And you're doing pretty dang good for being a bit under the weather there, Brian.
Well, I'm on a lot of medication. I'm on a little bit of cocaine. That's getting me going. I'm a little high, but I'm getting through the show. Doing all right.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
Now, this is fascinating, the clip that you played. I never had any idea that this thing,
1999, Brian.
I called it last night, is 20 years old.
1999 with Dan Rather.
It's been going on for 20 years. I can't believe it.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
It's safe to say that our president definitely likes to hold a grudge and or knows how to.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I want to tell you what I did today. I called the White House. I talked to somebody there at the switchboard. I said, will you please tell the president to quit talking about John McCain?
Did you really do that?
I did, and this is why.
I totally believe that.
I'm getting tired of talking about this on the Vegas take here in Las Vegas.
I love it.
Did you hear the beginning of the show, Brian? I pointed out how they were on and on about it yesterday, and now we're getting back into it again for another hour today.
Well, because you know why, Brian?
It's crazy.
Listen, Donald Trump, in regards to John McCain's funeral, he made some more comments that were ridiculous today.
I know, and it does him absolutely no good. As it's been stated previously, this is just going to alienate a certain amount of people who are veterans.
And you know what, Brian? Have you heard these other callers that are conservatives and Republicans that have been calling in?
It's like attacking his own fan base for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
It's like setting his own foot on fire for nothing. It accomplishes zero.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we are in agreement, Brian. Yeah.
And to your point, Brian, there has been Republicans that came out today. Martha McSally, of course, who is in his seat, by the way, in Arizona, and of course Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
No, look, Lindsey Graham's gone kind of a strange direction here the past 6 to 12 months. But Lindsey Graham even mentioned it today, saying, I don't like it when he talks about my friend John McCain.
Yeah.
The point being is, let it go. Stop bringing it up.
Yeah. Brian, do me a favor, and thank you for the call, by the way. Do me a favor, Brian. I want you to call the White House, ask to speak to Mike Pence, and say, we're trying to get some money on the Vegas take to open up some schools, but you can't be straight. You can only be a homosexual to work and go to the school. Can you please call Mike Pence and do that for me? That'd be great. I'm sure we could raise some money with the Pence family on that one. Anyway, 257-5396. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. Go to Sean. Sean, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you guys doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm pretty disgusted by what Donald Trump said about the funeral and not getting accolades for it.
Right.
My parents served a combined 30 years in the United States Army.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for your family's service. We much appreciated.
Yeah, and when they both passed away separately, there were veterans who they had never met show up at their funeral to serve as the honor guard. And they stood in the rain and the cold to release them from service. And
wow.
Every time I thanked them, they said, no thank you is necessary. It is an honor to release a veteran from service.
I am so glad. Wow, I am so glad you told that. You know what that is, Sean? That's something called class and appreciation.
Right. And it shows that Donald Trump never has been and will never be a military man.
You know why? You know why? And look, not everyone that doesn't serve in the military is a coward, Sean. But in this specific situation, Let's just call it what it is. Donald Trump is a coward with his stupid bone spurs. Sean, thank you so much for that story. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for calling in. It's good to hear from you. 257-5396. Wow, that's something else, isn't it, guys?
And no to our caller, Kelly, who called in and said and tried to make it seem like Donald Trump, because you were elected president of the United States, somehow you deserve some type of military accolades. That's not how it works.
No, it's not.
No.
Well, all right. We got Jason on the line. Jason, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Hey, great name, Jason. Fantastic name.
What's up, Jason? Jason, are you there? I hear some noise. There you go. Go ahead, Jason. Yeah, you're on the air, Jason. Go for it.
What's up, Jason?
Okay. I just got a few questions. Maybe it has more to do with John McCain's overall character and the people he hung out with, such as the CARE and the Muslim Brotherhood people, and
what?
Muslim Brotherhood? He was a lifelong Republican.
Yeah, hold on. You want to let him have a pass because he was a POW.
Have a pass?
What do you mean have a
pass? He was a Republican. You talk about who he was hanging out with.
Bergdahl.
Was he not a Republican?
No.
Was he not a Republican?
You got to remember, he's no better than Bo Bergdahl.
Are you kidding me?
You got to remember, he was in the middle of the Russian dossier.
Here we go.
Involved in that, and that was all.
So that is an excuse.
That's corruption.
Okay, so first of all, that's an excuse.
So maybe
you're not going to let me
man
talk.
You want to put up on a pedestal because he
Excuse me, sir.
POW.
Okay,
no, I'm going to finish
sir.
Because you think
okay,
he's a
stay on the
POW
line.
and he
Stay on the line, but you have to let me respond.
My father served in Vietnam.
That has no. Excuse me. Are you going to let me respond, or okay? Goodbye. See you later, jackass.
Thank
See you
your
later.
father for his service.
Yeah, what a moron. Okay, yeah, thank you for your father's service. I'm sure your father's very proud of you, you idiot.
Come on, Jason.
Give me a break. How can you call up and talk about, well, John McCain was corrupt and use as an excuse for the comments that Donald Trump has made? You know, every 10 callers we get one moron like that.
In a conflict between Donald Trump and John McCain, you know, it's a fruitless effort, people, if you're going to call up here and just start hammering a man who is now the late senator. Okay?
And by the way,
I had such high hopes,
it makes
for that
no
call.
sense.
By the way, I was
so excited.
Jackass, I'm not putting John McCain on a pedestal. No. What I'm trying to say to you, if you could get the wax out of your ears, is that Donald Trump is being disrespectful and he's going after someone's service in war as a POW. That's not putting somebody on a pedestal. That's saying what's right and what's wrong. And what Donald Trump has said and continues to say is wrong. Let's go to Chris. Chris, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
What's up, Chris?
I'd love to see you guys all fired up again.
We always are, Chris. What's on your mind, my man?
All right, time to get fired up again, boys.
All right.
Okay, let's turn the tables. I think it was John McCain who was jealous because President Donald Trump became president and John McCain never became president. And John McCain knew that he made a ton of mistakes while he watched the craziest times in our time that Trump got in with these.
Well, I'll admit this, Chris.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China, though, whether or not John McCain is jealous? Yeah, you know what? There probably was a moment or two when John McCain was thinking to himself, you know what? Yeah, Donald Trump's president, and I didn't get a chance to be president. Yeah, but what does that have to do with this entire conflict between the two
let me just
and
defend
Donald Trump's comments?
Let me just defend Chris.
It's been a battle between these two guys from day one.
I'll admit this, Chris. I'll admit this, Chris. The biggest mistake that John McCain made was getting that nitwit Sarah Palin to be his vice president because it cost him the presidency.
We can all agree on that. That's
yeah.
But John McCain's no saint either.
I never said he was. I never.
Listen. He came home from being a POW, big time POW, and then found out his wife.
What is a big time POW? What's that mean? What's a big time POW?
Please listen. Then he.
What's a big time POW?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? You said a big time POW.
Yeah, big time.
What's that mean?
POW, all in the public eye. Big time public POW.
The guy was tortured for 5 years. I mean, that's
just a POW.
What are you saying?
Yeah, he was in the newspapers. He was invited to all the dinners.
You think he wanted to be tortured for 5 years? You think that he wanted that? He enjoyed that?
I'm not degrading that. I'm just saying he was.
Well, when you say
you called him a big time POW,
when you say big time POW,
you're mocking him.
That's something like
that's
our
like
president
Donald Trump
would say.
when Donald Trump said I like people who weren't captured. That's like him saying that.
I would have called the so-called PO big time. But he was a big time in the press. Everybody was invited.
Okay, how about we just say this? How about we just say this, Chris? How about he's just a POW who served? Can't you just say that?
Great. Whatever, that's fine.
Well, not whatever. You're being disrespectful, but go ahead.
And then he divorces his wife, who was crippled in a wheelchair, to be cheated on his wife.
Do you really want to talk about? Do you really want to talk
Are we going to
about
have a
cheating?
character debate between Trump and John McCain?
Yeah, you really want to talk about
go
cheating?
that road?
Yeah.
You want to take that? You want to take that avenue? We can do it.
How about
we can go down that road?
Does the name Stormy Daniels mean anything to you?
Yeah.
Huh?
It's the same character. It's the same character between these two guys.
Oh, please.
And you gotta admit it.
Give me a break. No, I'm not going to admit it, Chris. I think you're 100% wrong. I think you're 100% wrong. You really want to compare the two? All the ex-wives that Donald Trump has, all the womanizing that he's done. Does the name Stormy Daniels mean anything to you? And the hush money payments? That's right. He banged Stormy Daniels, and then he hush money payments months after his wife had a child.
I will say this, though. Divorcing your crippled wife is not very cool.
Well, I wonder
absolutely not.
I wonder if he
Absolutely
says
not.
the same thing about Newt Gingrich.
Pretty
I
much
wonder
the
if
opposite of cool.
I wonder if this right-winger says the same thing about Newt Gingrich, who left his wife when he found out she had cancer. Funny, I don't hear you mentioning that, do you?
It's one of those deals where all things considered, okay, you want to have a character debate between Trump and John McCain. It's a losing situation if you're on Trump's side.
I agree.
Yeah.
You're not going to win it. 257-5396, the number to call, 257-5396. Go to Lindsay. Lindsay, thank you for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Oh, I'm well. How are you?
Doing good, Lindsay. What's on your mind?
Well, I've been listening to what everybody's been saying about the comments and John McCain, and there's definitely some heated arguments and people and thoughts.
Mm-hmm. We like it like that, Lindsay. We like it. We like it when it's heated.
That you do. And I don't disagree with what Trump said was just downright mean and very disrespectful.
Right. We agree. Yep.
And even though you just did call Sarah Palin a nitwit.
Well, I think she is.
Yeah,
She's a moron.
And that's absolutely fine.
I mean, she is. She's a moron. Her son beats women. Her daughter is a complete ditz. She has a moronic family, but she can see Alaska from where she lives. She reads all these books.
Russia too.
Yeah, Russia. Yeah, exactly. But I think that's the reason why John McCain wasn't the president. I think she's a nitwit.
And this is the thing that I find very interesting. I did vote for both men. I voted for McCain and I voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But where was everyone in 2008 defending John McCain like they are today?
That's a good point.
Where was the touting of his heroism then? He was a hero still in 2008.
He was.
Outstanding
He
point.
was still a good person in 2008.
I agree. I agree.
I just,
Can I be honest?
Consistent, yes.
The only reason why I didn't vote for John McCain, the only reason, was because of Sarah Palin. I think he's a good man. He's not perfect, but I think he's a good man. Don't necessarily agree with his policies. I actually think he would have been a decent president. I really do feel that way. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just, with the new move of things to extreme left, and I mean, the man was ahead of his time with nominating a woman, even though she might not have been the most qualified.
No, she definitely wasn't. That's for sure. We all could agree on that one.
But the awful things that people are saying about him, not just the president saying, but everyone.
Absolutely.
Why weren't you defending him 8-9 years ago? Because the man never changed.
Well, you know what? That's a question that you're going to have to ask your fellow Republicans back in the day.
When people get a chance
I agree, and I
to
did
attack
then,
Donald Trump for something he says, they will absolutely do it every time.
Nobody could come up with an idea.
Yeah,
that's true, JD.
I think
it is.
Yeah,
but in all due respect, too, Donald Trump. Where were his? What was his thinking back in 2008? He was a Democratic. He was supporting Democrats back then.
Yeah.
Okay,
and New York Democrat in 2008.
So all of a sudden now Donald Trump's just changing everything about his ideology and the way he thinks.
One word, Chris: fraud.
In 10 years,
fraud. He is a used car salesman. Fraud as our president.
Disingenuous.
Yeah. Lindsay, it's good to hear from you, Lindsay. Thank you. You made some good points there. Appreciate it.
Or
Good
he
call.
saw a niche void and filled it, which he definitely did with the Republican Party.
Lindsay makes a really good point there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I agree as well. Look, call it what you want. I think anyone who serves in our military, as long as you serve honorably, I think you're a hero.
And I think that the caller before Lindsay actually made a decent point when he said that McCain might be jealous of the way that Trump won the election by being so informal. McCain was the most formal candidate in the last 30 or 40 years, and Trump was the exact opposite of that, and he won the presidency. So I could definitely see McCain being jealous for that.
I suppose, but I think if I served and I was a prisoner of war for 5 years, and in 1999 Donald Trump says he doesn't respect me because I was captured, I would have a personal vendetta against that man as well. So I think we all could agree on that.
And even John McCain, who did have that jealousy, right, JD and Brian, it's not an excuse or a rationale for saying the things that Trump has said about McCain.
Yeah,
I mean,
no doubt. I think we all could agree on that. And I think the majority of the callers agree on that. 257-5396, the number to call again, 5396. Let's go to JD. JD, C-Win, it's your favorite caller.
It's my
JD,
guy.
thanks for calling in. How are you, JD?
What's up, JD?
Am I on the Jerry Springer show now?
No, this definitely isn't Jerry Springer. No.
Oh, but it's starting to sound like it.
That's a good thing, isn't it? Jerry Springer had some of the highest ratings of any TV talk show on the planet. So, yeah, that's a good thing.
Okay, I want to take it in a little bit of a different direction and give you something to talk about for the rest of the month. Breaking news special. The woman that owns that Orchid massage parlor in Florida is a Chinese-American Republican with pictures for Trump, with her and pictures of President Trump. And now there is a Chinese spy connection to the possibility that she's a double agent.
Well,
That's not good news for your guy, JD. That's not good news for Mr. Trump.
Well, my point being that could be a lot more salacious topic to talk about because I'm really getting tired of this.
Well, you know the thing about it, JD, though, is that she's the former owner of that. So, I mean, the whole salacious part of it, I think, kind of goes by the wayside because she no longer is part of those actual massage. Look, it was a funny thing to talk about for like a week or so because it was Robert Kraft, tied up into it.
Right.
But now that she's no longer, she doesn't own those massage parlors, that kind of part of it goes away.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, JD, and I appreciate the call. We are going to look into this because I know JD, my co-host, is a big fan of the massage parlors, aren't you? Isn't that true?
Yeah, that's totally true. I'm a massive fan.
No hesitation.
I'm a massive fan of the massage parlors.
You're hanging out on Spring Mountain every night. I know
constantly.
I know C-Win is.
I've made so many friends on Spring Mountain.
My house is like literally 2 blocks from Spring Mountain Road. Okay, so that tells you about my point of view.
Here's the thing. Quickly, I know we got to go to break here. Kraft is not taking the plea deal. In that plea deal, he would have had to have taken an STD test. You want to talk about humiliating? All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll get to Greg and Anthony when we come back. You are listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.